Hi, I'm Cynthia Guaba for Haldini.com. If you're a mom, you probably spend part of every summer chasing after your kids with sunscreen. But are you really protecting their sensitive skin from the sun's damaging rays? Dr. Doris Day is a dermatologist and author, and she is here to help us all be smarter about the sun. Dr. Day, thank you for being here with us. What are the two most common and biggest mistakes parents make when trying to protect their kids from getting a sunburn?
Well, the two main things are that they count too much on sunscreen alone to protect their children's sensitive skin, and two is that they don't reapply the sunscreen often enough.
What is the SPF number you recommend that they use?
For children, and actually for adults as well, I recommend an SPF of 30 or higher. It takes about a shot glass amount to cover the entire body. That's really for an adult. In a child, you probably need a little bit less, but that's a good gauge to go by. And also, when you look at the sunscreen, look for both UVA and UVB protection, because that means that you're protecting against all the damaging rays of the sun. There are new sunscreens out now that are also photo-stabilized, which means they have a little bit extra protection. These are ingredients like Helioplex in Neutrogena products, Mexeril in the Antelios or La Roche-Posay, or Avotriplex in Banana Boat.
You just mentioned a couple of names there. Can you just explain what they mean and what they really do?
What these ingredients do, they're all very similar, and what they do is that they stabilize this UVA and UVB protection to make it a little bit stronger and last a little bit longer. So you still need to reapply it regularly, but with these ingredients, you know that you're getting a little bit of a broad spectrum, longer lasting protection, so it adds just a little bit more to what you're using.
Are young kids more susceptible to getting sunburn than teens or adults?
Younger skin is more susceptible to the sunburn. Also, they're more susceptible to the damage from the sun. So their skin is still developing and growing, and also what's called their body surface to volume ratio is very different than in an adult. So if they have a severe sunburn, the symptoms and the consequences can be much more severe than it would be for an adult. If you have a child who's sunburned and you see that they have a change in their mental status, if they're more groggy, or if they have fevers or chills, if they're vomiting, if they're not quite themselves, if they're not eating well, then that's a much more serious condition. It might be a sign of sun poisoning and should be addressed right away by either going to the emergency room or calling your doctor for further advice.
If kids get a tan but don't burn, is that still okay for their skin?
A tan is a sign of sun damage. So in order to create a tan, your skin has to be damaged, and that stimulates those pigment-forming cells called melanocytes to make more pigment to protect the skin cells. So in order to tan, you're damaging the skin. Tanning is not a good idea, and it should be avoided if possible.
I see that you have several products here. Tell us about them.
So there's lots of sunscreen that are packaged for children. A lot of times these contain ingredients like zinc oxide or titanium dioxide that are a little bit more opaque. They're thicker and you can see them more on the skin. And these are nice because they don't actually penetrate the skin. They just create a protective physical coating and helps protect against the sun damage. Other ones contain specific UVA and UVB protection. And the FDA is actually coming out with some rulings that are going to change the labeling so you can't say waterproof anymore. In the future, they're going to change that. It can say extremely water resistant, but not waterproof.
Dr. Day, thank you for that helpful information.
Thank you.
I'm Cynthia Guaba for Haldini.com.